All right, so a bunch of people online and a couple of my friends asked me what I bought and how I put it all together to make my underglow work. So I compiled everything, took screenshots of what I bought, and I'm going to lay it out really quick so everybody can figure out how to do this fairly quickly to their own car. Overall, the first time I ever did this, it took me forever to figure out. I think I was out here for like 9 hours. This time it was closer to 5 hours, 6-ish. Just because the NC2 is a little bit different from the NC1. But overall, this is my first time putting a button in, so that was the big fun thing that made it a lot easier to deal with cops when they ask you to shut it off. It was a lot quicker than opening the app. So I compiled everything that I bought from Amazon, and I bought some of the things from O'Reilly's, but you could just buy the same things from Amazon. Mostly I just had to buy them because I realized halfway through the project that I needed more wires. But yeah, so I'm going to go over that. So if you bought everything that I bought from Amazon, it's about $125. I'm going to post the screenshots for each thing in this video. And I think there's a coupon right now for the Govee lights that I bought. So they're $24 off right now. I don't know how long that's going to last. So it'll be $101 if you did it fairly soon after you saw this video. But the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take... I use trim tools. You can use a flathead screwdriver, but you basically take this panel off of the car. So I think I still got it worked out here. So yeah, you just pop it off. It's pretty simple. Then you look back underneath the dash here. And these are the wires that I worked with. But there's clips on this dummy button. Now, I don't think the NC1 has this, but the NC2 definitely has this dummy button. Technically, you can do this to any part of your car. But I just took the dummy button off and put it there because it looks more neat, but technically you could have put it just about anywhere. I had an old Eclipse where there was a switch right here that the previous owner put in. So anywhere you want to, just got to get behind the dash. And I ran the cords. We zip tied the cords to a hanger, and this spot right here is where the rubber seal is. And we just used a trim tool or a flathead screwdriver and peeled that rubber part out towards us. And then I had my buddy shove the wires through a hanger, zip tied to the top of the hanger, down in here through that firewall. So I'm gonna open that up and show what it looks like on this side. Okay. But yeah, so this is all done correctly. There's not really any risk of a fire if you do this right. So this is the fuse box. So this is the fuse tap. So the fuse tap kit that I bought came with some fuses. So basically what you're doing is, as it says, you're tapping into one of the fuse spots in the box. So I picked something unimportant, which if you go 1, 2, 3 spots down from these small spots, that's the back window heater. So it leaves very little room for error or damage to something in your car electrical if you put it into something like that. And you just put that same fuse back in the bottom spot that you took out, and then you put the new fuse for your underglow in that top part. And then, as you can see, we snaked that and all these wires. So this is the wire from the actual kit, which I hid in the wheel well. Then this is the power source. And then this is the ground wire, and all of them, the rubber gasket is right down there. And so he just pushed it with a hanger, and I was on the other side and I pulled it through. So if you go down into the glove box here, you'll see all these pretty wires. So the wiring diagram will actually come with the kit of whatever switch you buy, because you obviously don't have to buy the same one I did. You could buy flick switches, bigger ones. Personally, I would have liked a bigger one, but I wanted to kind of keep it discreet at the same time, so I just went with a smaller one. I think this is about 12 millimeters, so it would fit and look neat in here. But each one comes with its own wiring diagram. It'll tell you instructions on what part to hook up from that underglow. I didn't have any wire, like, stripping tools. I literally just used a wire cutter and gently squeezed it in a circle until I could get the casing off. These are the wire crimps. This is the easiest way to do it. You literally just put the two ends of what you want to connect, then you squeeze the pliers, and then you have one wire basically. So And then the hardest part isn't the wiring part. The part that takes the longest, there we go, that's back on there. The hardest part of all of this is getting it in neatly. So the Govee kit comes with 3mm tape on the underglow, but I don't trust that, so I use the E6000 glue as well, because if you really do need to take it off in the future, you just take some acetone or some alcohol and it'll peel right up, but it's not water soluble, so like rainwater and puddles isn't going to ruin it. But I started at the front, so this is the front of the car, and what you're going to want to do is turn the wheels all the way that way, and if you're on that side, the opposite direction, and you're going to unscrew each one of these. I think there's about 10 in the wheel well, and once you get those all screwed off, you can actually push this wheel well cover out of the way, and you can snake the wires inside this. So what I did is the box is on the inside of there for the light kit, and then the wires come right out of this wheel well right here that I closed off, and that's where I tucked all the wires, is on the inside of that. And then you just start gluing, but you want to make sure that you use alcohol and a rag first to prep the surface. Yep, it's still hanging on good. I went about 100 on the freeway and everything's still held together, so safe to say I did an okay job. Yep, it's still all on there. The only part that I had a little bit more trouble with is the NC2 seems to have smaller wheel wells. So I did take a portion of the wires and just zip tied it to part of the air dam on the inside of the radiator. If you want to do more work, you could just relocate it all to the wheel well, but I have this aftermarket one that hides it, so I don't really care. With the E6000 glue, it's also safe to get on your hands. It peels right off after it dries, so I just used my bare hands to do it all. But you're basically just tucking all the extra wire behind these wheel wells, and then you might want to buy new pop clips. I happen to have extras, because when you do take these off, a lot of them are going to be old and they're just going to shatter. So you just take it after prepping the surface with alcohol, and then you're just going to hold it in place until it holds on its own. And you're going to keep doing that all the way down to here. Now, this is the hardest part of the whole thing, is when you get to the back wheel wells, there's no cover that you can hide them behind. On the NC1, that was even harder because the NC2 does have something here, kind of like a firewall or sound dampening. So what I did on the NC2 is I just pushed really hard and tucked the wire in between that and the body. And then this back part here, if you can see in through here, I took E6000, like a glob of it on my hand, and just pushed in and held it for like 5 to 10 minutes until it held on its own, and then did another glob back here to hold that, so it's never going to make contact with the wheel because it's stuck in place. And then the last part, which was also very difficult, let me see if I can get in here. So I have an aftermarket exhaust pipe, so I don't exactly know how somebody would do this with the normal muffler on. You would have to find a way to make it work. But this heat shielding for the trunk, where the old muffler used to be, I just straight up glued it to that, and then glued the very edge of it with a large glob of glue, you can see right there, to that frame piece. And then I just let the slack hang out like that on both sides. And then again, you just sit here and you hold it until the E6000 glue finally catches, and you're gonna have to go back and press on it over and over again for like half an hour. I just did circles around my car until it was all sealed up and good, and after about a day or two, it'll become like solid plastic basically, so you won't have to worry about it too much. And then you just do that around the full circumference of the vehicle. You take any extra wires that are left and you tuck it inside wheel wells, and that's just how I got rid of all the wire. And then after you finish that, that's it, you're done. So, but most important is you want to test the kit before you glue it to the car, because if you glue all that in and spend like 4 hours doing that to make it perfect so the light lines up, and it ends up not working. That sucks. I also recommend doing it at night because you want to be able to see where your underglow is, because when I first put it on the front, I put it too far apart and there's just a big gap in the middle. So I had to peel it back off, reapply the glue, the E6000 glue, and then stick it back on there. But once you get that all figured out, it's completely safe. There won't be any risk of a fire or something going wrong. And you'd have a kill switch button inside your car that you can shut it off if you see cop cars, which works where I'm from. It might be different from wherever you guys are from, but that's how I did it in 10 minutes. If you have any questions, you can just DM me or comment them and I can chime in. This is my second time doing this, and this time turned out a lot better than my first time. You can also use the Govee 4 light kit. That's the first one I did. It's a lot cheaper, but the 8 light kit obviously looks a lot better. So